Welcome back to the Backstage Pass, where we kind of take you behind the curtain of very, very remarkable humans who live and lead and build with intention. People who don't just chase growth, but architect it. Today, I have the privilege of sitting down with Ian Miller. He is a strategist, he has a huge heart, he's a builder, and he's a force behind some of the fastest growing companies that you probably never even heard of, but we're going to bring them forward today on this call. Ian is a fractional chief revenue officer, which means that he really steps into businesses as the engine behind their revenue, behind their reach, and behind their expansion, right? He is the person that I'm sure he would explain in more depth in our conversation that founders call when they're ready to kind of stop guessing and start growing. So I like to think that he is the embodiment of what it looks like to create results on purpose, give so generously with heart, and turn great ideas into great businesses. So this conversation is going to be amazing and awesome. Welcome, Ian.
Thank you so much, Leah. And I got to tell you, after hearing your intro, I don't have to say a word. I could just go and have a coffee now because I think we're done. You said it all.
Except they didn't get to know Ian the way that I have gotten to know Ian. So,
I hope my wife doesn't hear that.
see, I should have put witty in there. I should have put witty in there because you always make me laugh. So, before we get into the doing of Ian, um, who is Ian? Who are you, friend?
Oh, yeah, I should ask my mother that.
Mhm.
Um, you know, I've had a very interesting life. I have had my own very large apparel business for a number of years. And I would even challenge the listeners out there to go in their closet. They'd probably find one of my shirts because we were that big at one point. But I left that industry over 10 years ago and have never looked back. I've had, again, unusual experiences which have led me to today. I'm a Guinness Book of World Record holder, which in endurance, and that really kind of taught me a little bit of a tenacity and a drive and also a passion for charity because it was a 4 day long softball game, and it was all to raise money for a couple of children's charities in Montreal. And so you learn a lot of lessons doing things like that. You learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about priorities in life, and that definitely was an experience that changed me and brought me to today. I was a former, I guess you never stop being, I was a former stand-up comedian, worked with some very big names in the industry and did that for a few years. And when I take a look at where they are today and where I am today, I realize I really couldn't have been that funny. But that's okay, because again, all roads lead to today. And I'm really in a wonderful place today. And so I wouldn't have it any other way. I would not change a thing. So 10 years ago, I had the privilege and opportunity to get into dentistry with a company that had just started a very unusual product, which was a plaque identifying toothpaste. And I was able to help them scale that business to about 50 times their size when I came into the industry. And 5, 6 years later, they were approached by a large distributor who wanted to buy the brand. We sold out. And I kind of thought to myself, okay, well, if I did it for one company, I could do it for a lot of companies. And that's what developed into Dental Mutuality, which is my current company.
So tell us just a little bit about that.
Dental Mutuality,
Yeah.
or so what Dental Mutuality is, it's a C-suite of dental professionals that we work with, either founders, we work with startups, dental startups, and we also work with international companies wanting to break into the North American market, or companies who just want to scale. And very often, especially with startups, they don't know what they don't know, which everybody's like that, right?
Right?
Number two is that they're usually severely underfunded. They need capital. They don't have, and I say this with all the respect in the world, but most of them, dental startups, are started up by dentists who don't realize the amount of time, the amount of energy, the amount of knowledge it takes to bring their incredible invention to market.
Mhm.
And most of these dentists have such brilliant ideas. Like it floors me how many of them are out there.
Mhm.
But they seem to rethink that, well, I had the idea and I can bring it here and it's going to sell 1 million copies or 1 million pieces or 1 million, and they don't realize why it's not happening.
Mhm.
And they think it's them, they think it's the product, but it's not. They just don't have the time, they don't have the knowledge of what it takes to show up at a trade show, or that they need the right KOL to be able to talk about them. And that's where we come in. When a dentist or founder of, excuse me, the company realizes that they either don't have the time or don't have the knowledge, because it's one of those two things.
Right.
And so we come in and we fill up all the gaps, whether or not it's you need a sales strategy, you need a marketing strategy, you need compliance help, we will connect you. If we can't do it, we'll connect you with somebody who can, because we are very, very, as you are, Leo, very well connected in dentistry and with all the right people in dentistry.
Mhm. Mhm. I love it. I love it. And so that segues beautifully into what I think is your current passion project.
Oh, you know it.
No.
So one of the things that, again, going back to the marathon game, is that it really opened my eyes to charities,
Yeah.
children's charities. I had a very unfortunate, I don't know what you'd call it, but my daughter, I'll just be out there. My daughter was diagnosed with lymphoma several years ago. And one of the things that and I didn't know this, I didn't know anything, I didn't know anybody who had lymphoma before. And she's doing great, by the way. So this is a happy story, not a sad story. But she had to go through several blood transfusions. And in doing so, people have to give blood for somebody to get a blood transfusion.
Yes.
And so when she came out the other side and she was doing wonderful, she decided to devote her life not only to helping those with any type of cancer, but also to be a force in Canada, in Quebec, it's Hema Quebec, it's the equivalent of Red Cross everywhere else. But she is a keynote speaker for the Quebec equivalent of Red Cross, and she gives of herself and her time. So to me, most people think that charity is giving cash, which yes, it is, right? Everybody needs cash, every organization needs cash. But giving of yourself
Mhm.
and being able to allocate a certain percentage of your time, your life, your money is so important, and it makes people feel so good. And it's just a question of finding what works for you. So we at Backstage have just started a nonprofit, and we hope to be able to change the lives of thousands, tens of thousands, and hopefully hundreds of thousands of people with all of the golden hearts that we have in Backstage. And so that's one of my pet projects that I'm working on right now, and I'm just loving it and immersed totally in it, because the end justifies the means, and the means are all of us giving our time, energy, soul, heart, and money to this cause. And I just can't wait to see the results of it.
Mhm. It's it's so great. And like I told you, listeners, like huge heart, very generous, and the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? So
So true, so true.
so true, so true. Um, so I want to segue from that into another another company that I believe will really disrupt the way that dentists think about just dentistry and supplies and products and and whatnot. So will you share a little bit about what you're bringing into the industry that is so disruptive in nature
Absolutely.
and so desperately needed? It's about 10 years needed.
And I'm going to go back to an old story with when I was dealing with the plaque identifying toothpaste.
Okay.
I would say one out of every two people, one out of every two dentists or hygienists who I spoke to about it, they literally went like this. I can't believe I thought of that years ago and never did anything about it. Or why didn't I think of that? Well, I looked at the industry for the past 10 years. And again, at the beginning, I was selling toothpaste to offices who didn't want it. And I'm going, what are you talking about? This is something that's great for your patients. This is something that you recommend to your patients. Why do you not want to carry it? And I used
Mhm.
to get very similar answers from everybody. I don't want to deal with the taxes. I don't want to have to collect taxes. I don't want to have to inventory things. I don't want to have to buy things. And I realized back then that there was a problem because I wasn't selling as many offices as I should have been. And fast forward 10 years, and I was approached by somebody in the pet industry because we do have pet oral care products. One of our companies is Pet Oral Care, and they had a brilliant concept, and it was the ability to be able to drop ship goods from the manufacturer, the vendor, right to the consumer, and for the pet store, the groomer, the vet to have the ability to really like benefit from that. And I spoke to them and I said, well, we could use that in dentistry. And so we worked for a good 6 months developing a similar platform for dentistry. And so what Dropship Dental is a way for offices to be able to recommend any brand, any product to their patients right in the chair if they like, and for those patients to be able to get that specific whitening product that you want them to have, or that specific toothbrush or toothpaste. It doesn't matter what aligner cleaner that you want to offer. And the problem is that usually if you do carry some product, you only carry one or two products from a vendor because you can't carry their 50 SKUs. And so what this platform does is allows you to recommend to your patient the exact brand or product that you want them to have. It gives them a great price on it. It gives you a great revenue share, and it gives the vendor what they need to be able to make them profit on all of their products because we're bypassing a lot of the middlemen along the way. And so I'm going to get in trouble from that from some of the suppliers I work with. But that's okay because at the end of the day, you are going to serve your patients better with less of a lift on your side, no inventory, no worrying about shrinkage or reordering it. And let's face it, what is one of the biggest top three pain points in dentistry today? Staffing, right?
Mhm.
Who has time to get on the phone or send out emails with vendors, negotiating prices and worrying about all the things that you really don't want to worry about? You want to worry about giving your patient the best possible clinical care that you can. So if you're short-staffed, the last thing you want to do is worrying about buying products so that they can buy them from you. So we take care of all of that. And so I think that it will be a disruptive force in dentistry. There's no question.
Yeah.
Just being able to give your products, give your patients the products that you recommend and not have them search on Amazon or run to Walmart for it, that's a huge plus.
It's a huge plus. And I mean, I'm thinking, yes, so staffing is a huge problem in dentistry there. But I'm also thinking from the patient side, right? You go there, um, whether you're anxious or not about going to the dentist, that can be evaluated. And then they do what they do. They numb you, and then at the very end of the procedure, they're like, "Oh, and by the way, this is what you need to get." And if you don't remember that, you end up having to call back Or they'll give you the name of the product and you will do what you do. You go to Walmart or you go to Amazon and you're uncertain as to, am I getting the right product? Is this the right product? Is this the way that I'm supposed to apply this product? And there's so much needless confusion that
Yes.
this solves for. It's just brilliant. It's just
So it's such a typical example is today, dentists are going to recommend fluoride or maybe hydroxyapatite, right? They may pick one. If they pick fluoride, is it going to be sodium fluoride or stannous fluoride? And the patient doesn't know all this.
no.
If you, as the dentist, say on my website, you are going to have your selection of all the things that we recommend. It takes all the guesswork out of it.
Yes.
But I
Yes.
hope you don't mind. I'd love to go back to a couple of things that you said before,
Yeah.
which was, what did you say about patients with anxiety and numbing them and all that? That's one of the companies, one of the tremendous company that I work with,
Yeah. Tell us.
eliminates
Yeah.
that. And
Yes.
I'm not saying reduces, I'm saying eliminates. We have seen so many cases, and the name of the company is Paper Plane Therapeutics. And what that is virtual reality that helps patients reduce and even eliminate their dental anxiety, their dental fear, and pain, all through a non-pharmacological approach, which is virtual reality. And that is a game changer. That I can tell you from experience after experience. We're in over 150 locations between dental offices and hospitals, and every single person who has used the system comes back to us with saying, oh my God, I've been able to treat patients that I just never have been able to treat before.
Mhm.
And patients who have not come to a dentist I have one case where somebody who did not come to a dentist, did not go to a dentist their entire life because their father died in a dental chair at 3 years old.
Oh,
So they had this immense innate fear of dentistry. And after their every tooth had decayed down to next to nothing, they were in
mm.
agony. They saw an ad from the dentist who had the virtual reality and said, okay, I'm going to try this. So they went in, they tried it first, they realized how calming it was, and they were able to do a full mouth restoration,
Mm.
upper and lower arches, and they have a beautiful smile now. And it never would have happened if it wasn't for the virtual reality system that we have.
It's just, and I'm sure you know the research more than I would even guess the research, but what percentage of the population would like self-proclaim that they have dental anxiety?
It's really funny because it's very different what they would say and what a dentist would say.
Yeah.
But 70% of people have had dental anxiety at some point in their life. 30 to 40% have it constantly. The 10% have actual dental phobia. So the difference being dental phobia, they will not go to a dentist under any circumstances.
Mhm.
1 in 5 people in the United States do not go to dentists, which is a number that shocked the bejesus.
Yeah.
I mean, it really shocked me. Now, not everybody is because of fear. Some of it's financial, some of it is stubbornness, but a good percentage of that, probably half of that. So probably 10% of the population does not go to a dentist because of fear.
Wow. And just like your story, they saw this as an opportunity to kind of fill that gap, to mitigate that fear.
Exactly.
And yeah, it's brilliant.
And it really is, there's no reason why anybody should deny themselves the ability to have a pain-free oral cavity. There's no reason. Like, why should you go have pain? And the old way was just yank the tooth out, right? Again,
Right.
unnecessary. Today, everybody deserves a beautiful smile. Everybody deserves to be pain-free and to just have proper oral care. And this is going to bridge that gap with a lot of people who just couldn't or wouldn't before. Not only that, but it's fun. I mean, how much of us, I don't know how many people love going to their dentist, but I got to tell you, we've had kids and adults come out of that chair saying, I can't wait to go back to see if I could beat my high score. Or
Hmm.
I can't wait to go back to the dentist because I want to go to a different location in the world I've never been. It's just, it's empowering to people.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So what, before we talk about how our listeners can find you and find all of the, be, partake in the foundation and partake in any of this, is there another company that, if you allow yourself to think about, brings up this same level of excitement and enthusiasm that you had when we started talking about anxiety and the unnecessary suffering that
Oh,
you
absolutely.
okay.
So we're funny. We, the at Dental Mutuality, we really don't take on a lot of companies unless they have certain criteria.
Okay.
And so everybody who I work with, I'm excited about for different reasons,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, different reasons. Something's got to trigger me. Um, and so one of the criteria, if you want to work with Dental Mutuality, is you have to have some kind of benevolent arm of your business. You have to be able to give back. That's, to me, it's a necessity today. And every company that I work with, and certainly all the new ones, that goes right on the table, so I'm excited about that. But aside from that, we look for products and services that are kind of like what I said before, unicorns. I don't like to have to get into the trenches and compete with somebody on price or anything like that. So the companies that I work with are kind of unique. Um, for instance, one of them it's called PerioTwist, and it is a completely disruptive interdental brush. All the old interdental brushes, they're metal wires and bristles, and they're loaded with bacteria. You can't reuse them, and they can, poke into your gums, causing you to have bleed, introduce infection. It's not the right way to do it. So we have a brush that's made out of very high quality plastic and silicone, and it is not adjustable, but it's conical shape so that it goes in between any space. You don't need to buy all kinds of
Mm.
different ones for different teeth. So it's also in its shape, it allows you to introduce medicaments. So if you need to introduce, and you take any interdental brush, you take toothpaste and MI paste, let's say you put it in and out, it's just going to come out. It's going to stay on the surface. As opposed to this, which you twist in, pull out, and it stays right in between the teeth at the gum line,
Mm.
which is, let's face it, that's where most
Right.
problems start.
Right.
So we're helping people eliminate and reduce their periodontal disease, their need for surgery, their need for uh, fillings, and it just, again, it's helping people. And
Mhm.
especially when you think of kids, if they could start early and take care of their teeth. And this is not instead of flossing. This is in addition to. I'm not one of these people who believes, no, this is the way to go instead of floss, or with any kind of water pick, anything like. This is just, you have to take care of your teeth. And some people do better with certain products. And I truly believe that this is a complete game changer when it comes to periodontal care and how patients can empower themselves and their children to take care of their teeth better.
Mm.
So, so I do have a pat, like every company
Uh-huh.
that I have, I could just go on and
Uh-huh.
on. And another one is the MyoSpot, which is helping hygienists get certified in myofunctional therapy.
Mm.
And a lot of people go, well, what's that? And the latest figure I read is that 90% of your patients could use some myofunctional therapy. That's a huge number. Again, I'm blown away by a
Huge
statistic
number.
like that,
Yeah.
right? But can you spot it? Do you know what to look for? Do you know how to assess your patient so that you can now suggest the treatment plan for helping them with whatever they have?
Mhm.
And again, you speak to the vast majority of hygienists out there, and they don't know about it. And so just introducing this indirectly is going to help several of your patients that you don't even realize. So to get certified, it's golden. It's going to bring an
Yeah.
extra revenue stream to your practice, and it's going to help your patients. And at the end of the day, I think that's what we all want, is we want to give the patients the specialized, exceptional care that when anyone went to dental school believed they would be doing.
Yeah.
And this empowers them to do it.
Yeah. And so I can only imagine and hope that all these unicorns, all these product disrupting, uh, s- certification disrupting opportunities, invitations will be available in dropship.
Yes. Well, no, dropship is actually specifically for consumer dental products.
Okay.
So all of these would be at dentalmutuality.com,
Okay.
but dropshipdental.com is specifically for dental consumer products only.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Perry and Twist would, but
Yeah.
not the myofunctional therapy.
Got it. Okay. So before we talk about how people can connect to learn more, I wanted to ask you, why do you believe that you found your in all the different industries that your genius could be applied?
Oh, I don't know about genius, but
I will say genius, and it's my podcast, so I'm right. Why do you think dentistry?
dentistry is an industry where we are, well, let's go back a little bit. Again, I'm going to go back to toothpaste where I hate using this pun, but where I cut my teeth. Um, so back then, I learned about the oral systemic link. This is back in 2014.
Okay.
And I don't think that it was taken seriously back then. I know it wasn't taken seriously because I spoke to a lot of dentists during that period, and some said they know about it, some didn't believe it, and whatnot. But as we all got more and more educated over the past 10, 11 years, I think the vast majority of dentists and hygienists are complete believers into the fact that, the mouth is the gateway to the body, and that's where a lot of systemic diseases start. I don't think there's too many outliers anymore that deny that.
Mhm.
And so as a dental professional, you are the first people to see inside a patient's mouth and to be able to, through assessment, questions, just looking with your eyes, to see if there's a problem.
Mhm.
And if you can nip that in the bud and help that patient avoid the trauma, the anxiety, the difficulty that they're going to go through if they don't take care of whatever it is that is starting with that periodontal disease,
Mhm.
then, shame on you. And I'm not afraid to say that to somebody.
Mhm.
And so dentistry saves lives.
Mhm.
I know that sounds crazy because
Mhm.
20 years ago, nobody believed that.
Right.
But I think today people believe it and they understand it. And so, like you could see by my face and hair and beard that I am not a young guy anymore.
Mm.
And at this stage of my life, I want giving is everything to me. And so making sure your patients have a healthier life, that's giving.
Yes.
Making sure that you're part of a foundation, a nonprofit, whatever, that's giving. But I think that dentistry deserves the pedestal that they should be on.
Yes.
And that's for every dental professional.
Amen.
And
Yes.
so, that's what I want to do for as long as I can, is serve dentistry and serve patients, dentists, hygienists, dental assistants, front office. Front office is so important. And that's an area that's being really neglected these days just because there's not enough staff out there.
Yeah. And yet that is the area that you make or break any impression coming and going.
Yeah.
Yes. And isn't it interesting, and I'm sure you've had your fair share of conversations with dentists and their teams, but it's too often that dentists will quickly correct you by suggesting that they're not a quote unquote real doctor.
Oh, I hate that.
And it is mind blowing to me because I, or they think it or they feel it, or somewhere in their life they were told differently and they believed them. But your heart, my heart, I think the backstage heart understands the importance of this industry as vital. And we understand that it is the gateway to health, immunity, um, all of it. And if there's not a real doctor, right? If there is a real doctor otherwise, it is you. It is the dentist,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Well, and I've stopped using the word doctor
Mm,
on its own, right? So I have intentionally, and it took me a few years to
interesting.
learn this,
Yeah.
right? But I
Yeah.
stopped saying dentists and doctors
Uh-huh.
because if you listen to people talking, that's what they say. I will always say dentist and medical doctor if I'm using the two in a sentence,
Mm.
just because dentists are doctors.
Yes.
And you can't say doctor and doctor because then you're not defining who they are. But a dentist and a medical doctor, people understand that.
Yeah.
But I will correct people if I hear somebody say dentist and doctor. I will say, well, what do you mean? Dentists are doctors. I don't,
Yes.
and I will correct people for that. I'm just at this stage of my life, I'm very blunt, so
Right.
I will do that. But I agree with you 100%. It's
Yeah.
crazy that it's come to that.
Yeah. Well, I again, it's probably why I have such a heart for backstage because I do think that we champion this industry. We support it, we love it, we understand it, and we are constantly bringing people into this community to to better it. So, with that, how can our listeners um, connect with you to learn more about any and all of it? What is the easiest way for them to get connected to you in any of the facets that you bring to this beautiful industry?
Any which way possible. So my main website is dentalmutuality.com, and
Okay.
it's spelled just like it sounds, DENTALMUTUALITY, I think.
Sounds good to
Dental
me.
Mutuality.
Mutuality.
Mutuality. Or if you want it specifically for Dropship Dental, it's dropshipdental.com. Paperplane Therapeutics, paperplanetherapeutics.com. We're very, very simple in the way that we name things. Um, my phone number, you could reach me toll free anywhere in North America, is 877-677-5277. A lot of sevens, easy to remember. I was going to do sixes, but somebody called me the devil and I didn't want to do that. So 877-677-5277. I sound like an old KTEL commercial, again, showing my age. And my email is ian@dentalmutuality.com or dropshipdental.com. Just ian at IAN.
I am.
Or at Backstage, there'll be a way to contact us.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have a website and you can find Ian and all of the cool things that he's working on and that he's bringing in into your world, into your industry, so that you can really spend the time that you have focusing on what makes you a genius, what brings you light and what allows for you to bring forward your gifts in the best way possible, which is doing the dentistry that is so desperately needed and appreciated. So, Ian, it was a pleasure having
Oh,
you
the pleasure was
on.
all mine. And
Uh,
it truly was. I mean, I've done a lot of podcasts and interviews, but I really, really enjoyed this, Leah.
likewise, my friend. Okay, friends, you know how to get a hold of Ian. Lots of different ways, and it's not which way, it's just the way. So find him, connect with him, allow him to be part of your journey in whatever way that looks. Your life will be better for it. So thanks, everybody. Take care. Have a beautiful and blessed one. Bye bye.
Bye.